So,
So let me introduce you, Josh, and then we'll let you get started. How about that?
all right. Yeah,
All
that'll
right.
work.
So, everyone, welcome to Spring AI Webinar number 3, AI Art and Image Generators, presented to you by the Lavender Dragon team. And I have tapped Josh, who is on our team, to do this presentation because he is our AI art wizard. And he has also been doing some creations for a local business using AI art generations and is the go-to person to talk about how to use this in your business, in your personal life. And he also has some really cool ideas on how you can maximize your time with your AI art generators without destroying your budget. So, Josh, go ahead and take it away.
All right. Good morning, everybody. My name's Josh Rittenberry. I am a developer with Lavender Dragon team, and as Mary said, I do a whole lot of working with the AI art tools, typically for some of our projects. This one's going to be a bit more visual and fun of a presentation because we've talked about chatbots, prompt engineering, and stuff like that. It's all a bunch of words and whatnot, but here you actually get to see a whole lot of the product. And just as a preface, every single image you're going to see in this presentation was generated via an AI art tool. So, what's the deal with image generators? Like, what's the big deal with them? All right, hold on. I need to move the zoom thing out because it is blocking my view. 1 second. It wouldn't be a good presentation without technical difficulties. Uh, there we go. All right. All right. So, what's the deal with the AI image generators? They're tools that allow you to generate artwork, but instead of having to do it by hand or by mouse, if or drawing tablet, whatnot, you describe it. The way they work is that these AI models, instead of learning through being fed data on text data through like words and whatnot, they're trained to study pictures to deliver the desired picture that you describe. So basically, each image that is fed to these models has a description that goes with it. So, like, you'll have an image of a cat and probably an image of a cat running. There will be a description on each of these telling the AI, hey, what this is. So, it uses thousands upon thousands of those to be able to figure out, like, whenever you tell it to what you want to create it. And at this point, the AI boom is well in effect. So there's a chance that most of you've used one of these before, either through ChatGPT or anything. So have you used one? Which I'm sure most people have probably used a Dolly because that until recently was built into ChatGPT. It's still there, but it's not the one that the new ChatGPT defaults to anymore. But there's also Midjourney. That's probably one of the larger ones for like artistic use. And then there's open source models like Flux or Stable Diffusion that not only can you access on the internet, but you can download the model and run it locally. But that's a little advanced technically. As I said, they turn your text descriptions into prompts and they're trained on massive data sets. So examples, Midjourney, Dolly, Canva. They're capable of creating just one-off images, but a lot of the developments now allow you to go back and forth with the model and iterate on specific things, which wasn't possible in earlier models. Consistency has always been the issue for AI models, but they're always evolving. If this presentation were given a month ago, it would probably be entirely different because within the past month or month and a half, OpenAI released their new image generation model that is quite a bit more capable concerning some things than a lot of the competitors, which we will get into that going forward. And here we're going to see some examples that I've done. So in one of them, I've taken a character from one of my favorite video game series and turned and generated what he would look like if he was in like an 80s fantasy movie. So these models can do more real to life, photorealistic, and actual humans. Like this guy never existed, but you wouldn't be able to tell. It looks just like a cheesy 80s fantasy movie. And then we have fantasy like artwork, backgrounds and whatnot. It's good for getting a good desktop background too. But seeing as most of the people listening will be business leaders and so forth, you want to be able to use this for your business too. My mother, she works at a meat and three in a town nearby, and her boss asked me to see if I can make some advertisements for them. So here's here's a better example of that. So I just decided to, it's a small meat and three family diner. You tap into some sort of Americana artwork, and here we go. It's a nice little advertisement for them. And here you can see the power that these models can use for your business and advertisement and the like. And this was made using the new Chat GPT model. And the best thing there is it hits the text right. That's been the biggest issue with these generation generative models is that they've not been able to do text really well, but now that's becoming a non-issue.
Yeah, and Josh, I just want to point out, like on that model, even when you talked about the words fried chicken, cornbread,
Mhm.
pies was all spelled correctly, as was notice, which again, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, that would have been virtually impossible, especially on a initial run.
Exactly. And those background details I didn't even prompt. So that's the big thing because as text has been starting improving, it'd be like, yeah, you could get like the main thing that you want in the picture, like the one word that you really want, but everything else would be jargon or mumbo jumbo, like just absolutely illegible. But regardless, here's what image generators are not. They're not intelligent. And the way I say that is so if we see a picture of a cat, we know, hey, this is a cat. This is what a cat looks like. Whenever the models see the picture, whenever they've fed that picture, and they will see the text on it says it's a cat, the alt text, the description, but it sees a cat as an assortment of pixels in this general pattern. And then if they're fed a picture of a cat running, they're like, oh, so if the cat, which is this arrangement of pixels, is running, then they're more arranged like this. It doesn't know it as a cat, it just knows it as that group of pixels and data. So they're not always accurate either. As we've said, words and images, it can struggle a little bit with that. But also fingers. Fingers are a lot better than they used to be, but in some generations, you will still see weird hands. And then also just the little things, like the little details that you wouldn't really think of, but then you look at, hey, it's not right. Which, for example, in a lot of the generations I was doing for the restaurant scene, just how things are put on a table. Like sometimes it just doesn't make sense. They're not always consistent. So the best way I would describe using these image generators is they allow you to get a ballpark idea of what you want. A lot of the times it's not going to be exactly what you envision in your head because that's not what these do. It, that picture you have in your head, in your mind's eye, the only way to get that one to one as a picture is to draw it. These will get you probably to 80% of the way there, but you're always going to have to take a little bit of a compromise, which honestly, for the most part, good enough is fine. And they're not always legally sound. A big thing with AI in general is the legal ramifications and the ethics concerning it. And when it comes to image generation, anything you generate, you can't really copyright unless you modify it heavily. That is the current standing law at the moment. And then, so might not always be ideal for branding. So just double check. I'm not a lawyer, and there's a whole lot more detail that you can go into there, but always double check. Most of these services do have commercial right usage for what you generate, so you can use them in advertisements and whatnot. But as soon as you try to copyright it, that's where you're going to be getting into a gray area. And here we're going to see some of the issues that was talking about. So this was meant to be a show for like this, just to show off some pizza, kind of like a pizza advertisement. But as you can see here, the words are right, but the way it falls onto the pizza, you have this weird crust outline at the top. It's like someone just went and just ate the topped part of the pizza and just left the crust uncut onto the whole pie. That doesn't make sense. And then the next few, we're going to see some of the Mabel's, the dining room advertisement. But as you can see, the text, it's not right. Mabel's room, yeah, dining room. Yet again, due to how I described the image model's learning, that makes text really weird for it to pick up. Because as I said, we see cat, it sees pixels. We see the letter M, it sees pixels. Not really described as the letter M either. So that makes it a little bit tougher for it to work with. The reason why the OpenAI model is a whole lot better now is it uses a different method than that we're not going to get into the technical terms, but it handles text a whole lot better. But regardless, you've got the text, and you can see if you look closely at some of the hands, some of it's not right. Like with what the father here is holding, what is he holding? Is that like a butter knife, or it's weird? And here's another one. As you can see, the guy on the right, his hand is straight into the food. And if you look at the background people, you'll see blurred and garbled faces, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, here you can see some of the generations falling a bit short of what you would want. Some of them, if you don't look closely, you could be like, oh, okay, that's okay. But literally, sometimes you're just going to see some weird things.
Yeah. So Josh, Vicky has a question. She wants to know if the errors are built in so that it reduces claims that these are actual depictions. And
That, oh, go ahead.
no, I was going to say it's just really the way that the AI models are trained and work. It's not really by default. But I would say if you want to have fun, just kind of look at everything in here that could be a potential error. Like this, the pepper shaker is so much
Mm.
larger than this. His Now potentially he has a birth defect or lost a finger in an accident. We've got a missing finger here and they look like little sausages.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, and even if it was a birth defect, it doesn't excuse it just sitting on the plate like in the
exactly.
food.
So
If you look
you
in the
can
back too, you can see the faces. Starts to have a lot of an issue once they are more
Mhm.
out of frame on photos. Is now just becomes a Picasso in the background.
Right. And this is an anecdote, something that a lot of AI generators struggle with, especially when generating people, is if you have them doing a handstand upside down. There's not a lot of training data out there. So usually, if you prompt generators to do that, it messes up the face a good deal of the time. But to the question though, no, so a lot of generators, especially ChatGPT, do have guardrails. So if they see your prompt is something that might generate something that could be construed in a way they don't like, they will just stop you right there and be like, yeah, we can't do that. Yeah, the anomalies here aren't built in to dissuade you from thinking they're real. It's just how the image model works in as far as generating. A lot of times whenever you're generating something, you're going to have to run the prompt a couple times to get something close to what you might want. There's it's a whole lot harder to get something in one shot with art than it is with chat chatbots. But that was a great question. Very insightful. So with everything out there, what do I use? What do we use? Before we go into that, because I'm going to demo some of the things I use, we're going to talk about how to prompt. Writing art prompts is a little bit different than chatbots because you're not really telling it what to do. You're telling it what you want to see. So you have to be a lot more descriptive in prompting than with chatbots because when you're interacting with a chatbot, it's a back and forth communication. Hey, I want you to do this or whatnot. But with AI art, you need to describe the picture. So with this, for example, this was the prompt that was used. It was a cozy coffee shop interior done as a watercolor illustration with soft lighting and warm tones. And this is what it came up with. This one was, I'm pretty sure in Midjourney. I'm pretty sure this one was in Midjourney, but there's also a general guideline you can go through because we've talked about the RTATC framework for prompt engineering for chatbots. Here's a general guideline you can use here. Just the subject you want, the style you want it in, the setting, and the lighting and color. But you can get way more technical with that. I'll probably show you the prompt I use for the Mabel stuff, and it is a lot more detailed than that. But if you struggle with being descriptive, the chatbots can actually help you with that. So it's no problem. But starting off, we have the new kid on the block, the ChatGPT 4.0 model, image generation model. It's replaced Dolly as the default within ChatGPT, but whenever it's under heavy they'll switch back to Dolly. So if you're using ChatGPT and you're wondering, hey, why are my images looking a whole lot worse than usual? It's probably because of that. But because it's just built into ChatGPT, it's a lot more intuitive to use and like it's just right there. So if you tell ChatGPT to generate an image of whatever you want, it will do that. And the cool part with it is that it has a built-in editor. So here we are going to show that off. Hello. Oh, my Google is there we go. There we go. Okay. All right. Let's just here. As you can see, this is what I used to get that picture. So we're just going to run this one again. And I know it will likely come up with something that I will want edited. So just give it some time here.
While that's going, I want to go ahead and ask you a question. Do you
Yeah,
need to specify I want this as an image, or is it okay just to give that prompt and it will probably realize that it is an image?
great question. As you can see here, I just copied that prompt and put it in. So it will contextually understand that, hey, you are describing something that sounds a whole lot like an image. So we're just going to generate the image. And here we
And,
go. It is, go ahead.
oh, I was going to say, and to follow up, looking at your screen, Josh, there's also a new create image button in
Mm.
ChatGPT at the bottom. So you could hit create image
Oh,
after
yes.
or before you put in that prompt, Amadeus.
Yes. And then over here, you can go straight to Dolly or so the images are actually under the Sora model, which is supposed to be their text to video platform. But also this is what I was using yesterday. This is the Sora page. This is also where you can just start prompting for images just straight up. This isn't a chatbot part at all. But as you can see, here's what we're going to talk about with things that are weird. So it got most of the way there, but as you can see, he's picking this slice up and it's still there on the pizza. What we can do is while looking at the image, we can go up here to this select tool and it will let me highlight a specific part of the pizza. So I will do that. And then I just tell it the slice should be missing from the pie. And now it is going to iterate on that image and hopefully fix that. So we will check in here in a minute because one of the drawbacks with the new model is it takes a little bit more time to generate an image compared to some of the other models. Part of that's due to load because there's so many people just using this image model, but part of it is the way it works and the way that it, yeah, just the way it works.
So, Josh,
Uh,
how effective do you find the edit tool? Because my experiences with it have been mixed.
Depends on what you want it to do. So with this edit here, I half expect it to be just an okay edit, but so say this was another image where it was me wearing a blue hat. If I highlighted that and was like, "Oh, I want the hat red," that that's a much simpler edit and it will most likely come out right. See, it didn't even work here. So this might be just one of the things where it's not capable of understanding pizza removed from, oh, pizza slice removed from pie, et cetera, et cetera. But this is exactly what I did yesterday coming up with this image, and it did generally work. But as you can see, some of these examples, the slice isn't really lining up with where it should be missing. So it's 50-50, but it also depends on what you're needing changed.
Now, is this something then? Let's look at your first image. If I was fairly decent with Photoshop, for example, could I then just take this image and bring it into an image editing tool to make it more what I'm looking for?
Yeah, you can do something like that as well, but it really just depends on the image though, because and also your Photoshop skills. So yeah, you could definitely touch any of these up as well. Like before the development with ChatGPT, anyone who was wanting text in an image, I would just suggest, hey, just get the image you want, generate that without the text, and add all the text with Photoshop. And for the most part, I still recommend that. But this new ChatGPT model does text a whole lot better than a lot of the competitors and a lot more consistently, which I will just show right here. Yeah, see, with that. And it also made me a little bit more handsome too. But either way, in most other models, they would not be capable of keeping the text on the whiteboard consistent. I prompted ChatGPT to generate that image exactly, and I can actually show you the text generation request. Yeah, and this was a simple prompt that like this one wasn't detailed at all. So I just simply uploaded a picture of myself, which is not loading, and it was like, hey, use this and show me writing this specific text. This model generates more accurate text on a whiteboard. And not only did it do that, but it kept my shirt intact. So most models would not be able to do that at all. So that is a good demo of what the new ChatGPT model is capable of. And a lot of the competing models are going to have to improve to compete because it's just night and day difference.
So I've heard if you're on a free account, you only get 5 of these new images per day. And if you're on a
Yes,
paid account, it's maybe not quite unlimited. There's occasional slowdowns or stuff based on usage, but you get more images. Is that correct?
that's correct. And that's even the same with Midjourney. I'm not sure with the new ChatGPT just how many more you get, but I know with Midjourney, I've generated a lot and hit, I think they do a monthly cap of fast generations, and I've hit that cap plenty of times. And I'm like, oh, looks like I went a bit too hard. Yes, for the OpenAI, the ChatGPT 4.0 image generation, you do get the most out of it by being a paid member for your $20 a month. Midjourney is the other service that I typically like using, just mostly for artistic stuff. And it is only an AI image generator. It does nothing but generate images. And they're stylized, artistic, and you can do great creative and abstract visuals. There's a lot of tools in there that allow you to tweak the prompt and tweak some of the parameters that the model runs with, as well as using different types of references. So you can upload a lot of things and be like, hey, use this as a character reference, meaning put this person in, or a style reference. So a whole bunch of images be like, all right, here's all these images, do something in this style. So there's a whole lot there, which we will just go over and check out Midjourney. That's Sora. Oh my God. The Zoom taskbar is making this a little bit more difficult than it should be. There we go. There we go. Okay, so this is the home page for Midjourney. So say we want to go create. Yep, see though. So there's the coffee shop picture we did. But so say we want to do something else. So you know what? We will just use that, but we will go up to the settings here, or actually add images. Yeah, so you can do image prompts. So use the elements of an image. You can do style references. So say we want to do this in the style of old 80s fantasy artwork. We can run that and we'll see what it comes up with. And as you'll see, this is going to generate a whole lot faster. See 35, 37.
And you're doing 4 iterations at once from one prompt, correct?
Correct.
What's the benefit of that?
As I said earlier, a lot of the times whenever you're working with AI art generators, you're going to want to go through multiple runs of a prompt. So this is just a way to get 4 runs out at once. So maybe within these 4, and see, you can see it went with the general vibe of the artwork I provided, the general style. Maybe one of these I didn't like, or maybe one of these I liked for the most part, but I might want a variation. So whenever you're looking at one of these images, yep, so right there, that dude's face is messed up. And I think I might prefer one without people in it. If I like this image but want to see what else they could do with it, you can use this over here to do a subtle variation, which will just use everything here and do subtle variations of it. So maybe different table layouts, different painting over here, different furniture, but still be within that same general vibe or area. And also, there's also one for a strong variation, so it will be a bit more varied in the differences it will also generate. So yeah, right here, let's see. I went off of that image right there, so that was the original. And then these are all the different little variations. So it changes up the painting a little bit, changes up some of the furniture, some a little background, but it's still pretty much the same perspective and general style. And then up here, see, so going off of this image right here, it has modified some of the architecture. We've got more paintings,
That's pretty cool.
different
So,
paintings.
from a practical perspective, like you showed the work that you've been doing for Mabel's dining room, let's say you've got your artwork done. As a business owner, what do I do next? How do I use this? How do I implement it? How do I make it work for me?
So you're asking if you've already got the artwork, like you've got a finished product, you're like, hey, I want to use this.
Correct.
Just use it. Like, are you using it for advertisement, social media, et cetera, or is that what you're asking? Because
That,
like,
and
yeah,
then like, how do I know I saw somewhere on here that there were different sizes? So is there a way for me to
oh yeah.
say, hey, look, I want to use this in a Facebook stories post. How do I make this fit that size? Or I want to use this in a website. How do I make it fit that size?
Okay, so when it comes to dimensions, these I generated in 16 by 9. You can prompt it to generate them in more social media friendly. Here, let me get this up here. So different aspect ratio. So portrait would probably be the one that's going to be most social media friendly due to the dimensions. For the most part, for a lot of these, you have the image. If you know how to crop and cut it down, you can do that, modify it in whatever way you want. Just don't try to copyright it.
Okay.
Because as I mentioned earlier, the standing law right now is that AI generated artwork as is cannot be copyrighted unless there is significant human modifications done to it.
And
So go ahead.
I am not a Midjourney person by any stretch.
Mhm.
So when you were talking about aesthetics and such, what
Okay.
do those things mean?
All right. So aesthetics. So like the soft lighting, warm tones, stuff like that, watercolor illustration,
Well,
this
that,
part
but
up
then
here.
also you've got an aesthetics block that I'm looking at where it says stylization, weirdness, and variety.
Okay. A lot of these, it will show it will describe what it means. The weirdness, it basically dictates how much you want the model to adhere to your prompt, because
Oh,
a lot of people doing more artistic generations might want a little bit more variance, because you might think of something but then the model does something that's a little different and you might, ooh, I think I like that a little bit more, so it adds a little bit more variance. Some people tend to live on the more chaotic side of things, so if I cranked these all the way up, variety here for fun, we're just going to crank everything up here and run the original prompt without any style references. Yeah. So whenever you crank everything up, it just straight up calls it chaos over here.
interesting. Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
So yeah, as
okay.
you can
Very
see, the
different.
very different, and each one of these generations is not really that similar to one another at all. So yeah, this doesn't even look like a coffee shop. It looks a whole lot more like a ramen shop, if you ask me. This one's a very open floor plan for a coffee shop. This one's probably the closest, I would imagine, but there's nothing in here that really. All right, this is the only one where I could see something with coffee because you have the equipment back here, but it looks like a break room. So basically, all those sliders do is modify how the model adheres to your prompt. Another benefit, going back to the Chat GPT one for a second, another thing a lot of people praise it for is prompt adherence. So say we were generating something of, here, we'll do this right now. We'll say a dog. Oh, we're going to reset all this. All right, all right. A box and table. All right, no. So we're going to say a dog and a cat with the cat, all right, a dog standing on table, a cat standing on a box. So with this one generating, so here we see that in these generations, yeah, that one kind of hits. He is standing on a table, like it's a dining room table, and then the cat is standing on a box. But say here, not so much. A lot of A lot of models do struggle sometimes with context and adhering to the prompt in ways like this. Here, both of them's they're both technically on the table, but it might not be what I was envisioning. That's just one thing you have to look out for with generative images.
Not to cut you off too much, we are running
Yeah.
about 15 minutes till wrap up. So if we want to
Okay.
go over
Yeah, yeah.
some of the other materials.
Yes. Okay, here we go. Open source models. Not only can you go through these services to run their proprietary models, there are a ton of open source models you can use to that are developed and trained by everybody. The most popular is Stable Diffusion and a spinoff of that called Flux. And the the big thing with those is that if you have the technical know-how, you can download the model itself and run it on your machine. You do need a pretty powerful computer to do that, but if you can do that, then you can train that model to on anything that you want. So say you needed something very particular. Say I wanted a model that could generate pictures mainly of me in different like settings and fantasy, like settings, comic book me, et cetera, et cetera. I can get one of these open source models, feed it a lot of my pictures, and then be able to do that. And they're highly customizable, and they don't have really any of the guardrails you might see with ChatGPT and whatnot, where you'll ask for something and ChatGPT will be like, "Hey, can't do that." These open source models do not have that stipulation. So why should this matter for your business? It allows you to quickly generate images without needing to hunt stock photos or design them yourself. Stock photos, they are a dime a dozen, and the more you work with them, the more you start seeing a lot of the same ones. Generating the images are a good way to have something that's a little bit different, and they're done quick. So if you're needing social media content that's high volume and you need a lot of it now, the any of the image generators will get you what you need. And they really don't cost a whole lot. You can do for ChatGPT, you can do 5 free ones a day using the new model, and then I think it'll kick you off to Dolly. But that's just on the free plan. I personally do have the $20 a month for ChatGPT just off of general use. If you're already using ChatGPT like that, then you just also have a powerful image generator. For Midjourney, you do have to subscribe to use that one, but it is $10 a month, so very low cost. And here's some examples across different industries where you might be able to use it. So if you're in retail, you can generate product promos or themed ad visuals. So say there's a product you want to show off and you don't want to go through the trouble of staging it and doing a photo, like all these different photo shoots and whatnot. You can just upload that picture of the product as a reference and generate all those promos that you need right off the bat. It'll work with that and then for food service, showing as I showed you with the pizza thing, you can generate some pizza and show that off. Or the food on your menu, specials, seasonal content, like anything like that. For real estate, a big one for real estate is generating mock-ups. And so you're showing off a property, there's nothing really in it right now. You can upload an empty room, like a picture of an empty room, and the AI will fill that out for you. No problem at all. And across most of these industries, we're going to mention social content because social media is everywhere in our life. So getting those images that are just right for your social media post, AI image generators can do that. And there we go. Website, blog visuals, presentations, events, promotions, like posters, everything you can do. There's a whole lot of things you can do with AI image that's more than just for fun. Though really we all just have fun with it. So wrapping up, look, they're creative, fast, and cost effective. visual assistants. They're not going to do everything for you, and you're going to need to have a little bit of input on it, but for the most part, it will get you 90% of the way there, or good enough. And for marketing, social content, concepts, they're phenomenal. To get the best results out of them, you really want to be as descriptive as you can. So just for reference, let me, why is it? There we go. Just for reference, we're going to scroll all the way down. You saw these very simple prompts for the Mabel's thing. Here's the prompt I had for that nostalgic illustration in the style of Norman Rockwell depicting a warmly lit Southern country restaurant scene. Blah, and I go to describe what I want on the in the picture, and then across the top of the illustration, the words Mabel's dining room are printed in a classic serif font, and is basically the more descriptive you can get, the better. If you can throw in a whole lot of art terms in there as well. Oh, these are some of the bad ones. Oh, these are the Midjourney ones. That's why. Yeah. But I ran this prompt in that and in Sora. Sora did a whole lot better. But regardless, this just goes to show like how detailed you can get with the prompts. And the more detailed, the better.
Josh, on that note, before you finish, would you recommend trying different image generation engines with the same prompt to see where you get the
Yes.
best result?
Yes. If you have the resources, if you have access to a couple different ones, do that because each generator is going to vary in quality depending on what you're doing. So I would always at least check a second one to see, hey, do I like the results here better? So it's very important to have the right one for you.
Excellent.
But it's also good to keep in mind like where these are limited. So for branding, if it's something you're going to copyright, don't do that. If you need something very specific in particular, it might get it, it might struggle. So if there is something very specific that you want and there's no variation that you can accept, that the generators are probably not going to be the thing for you. And just double check the details. As we showed earlier with the messed up pictures, hands, the things on the table, stuff like that. Those are usually the key giveaways of, oh, this looks real, or oh, this is definitely fake, because the little details are important. But just try them. Just try Sora or Dolly on ChatGPT. That would actually be a good way to compare and contrast the new model to the old or whatnot. But since they're both there, you get 2 for 1 there. So I would say that's probably the best value. Plus, you can access them for free. But also, there's another platform called Night Cafe that both Mary and I are pretty big fans of. But it allows you to use all these different models right here. So we've got Flux, we've got GPT-1. I'm guessing they've implemented the new GPT model, and that's new to me. But we've got Google Image Gen, we've got Ideogram, which was up until the new GPT one, the go-to for any sort of text or typography. But we've also got all sorts of different diffusion models that are tailored to different aesthetics. Like you have so many models here to choose from that it's a little overwhelming, to be honest. But we're running out of time, so I don't get to show off a lot of Night Cafe, but there's a lot of tools within Night Cafe that will spruce up your prompts. So any prompt you put in here, you can to Night Cafe to spruce it up with AI to maybe get something a little bit better. As I said, not everyone's going to be good at being able to describe what they want in their mind, so AI can still help with that. Let's see. I don't know why it's doing all that. Okay. But yeah, just go to any one of these engines and just test it out with a couple flyers, a couple advertisements, or just have fun with it. That's the important thing. Just have fun with it. But it's your turn.
I love
Just give it a
it.
shot. Just
So
give it a shot. Use one this week. As experiment with it. See how you can implement it in your workflow, in your business.
no, I think
And
that's great. And what about sharing on social media? Should people share their work and ask for feedback?
sure, absolutely. That share just I would say bluntly speaking, there's a lot of I don't want to say ethical like hard ethical concerns, but there's a lot of people that are a bit wary of AI, especially when it comes to image generation and content generation and whatnot. The best way I could say to get ahead of that is just be upright, be upfront with it. Just be upfront that, hey, this is AI generated. Usually, if you're upfront with it, no one's going to complain. People probably won't even complain anyways, but AI is a new tool. And of course, when something comes new, you're going to get a lot of people who are a bit wary of it. So yeah, just do it, share it, just let everyone know, hey, this is AI.
Hey, don't let them fool you. I'm not actually a wizard.
Exactly. No, I am not actually a wizard at all. So I wish I had that kind of beard, but no. So that is about all I have today. Are there any questions? Any more questions that I can answer?
It doesn't look like it. So, with that said, everyone, thank you for showing up. Been great to
Yes,
have you with
thank
the
you.
Lavender Dragon team. We'll have the replay available by Tuesday, and our next AI session is AI video in 2 weeks. So, we hope to see everyone there again.
Yes. Thank you, everybody.
Have a wonderful day.